A regular meeting on January 29th.
Motion made to approve.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Special meeting on budget workshop on February 5th.
Motion made to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions on the budget workshop? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no correspondence. No one has signed up for public comment. Item number 6, Chair will entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda as it has been presented.
There's a motion made and seconded. Any questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, Superintendent's report. Mr. Goho.
Thank you, Dr. Palat and members of the committee. First item is I would request approval of the enclosed MOA regarding 2 employees and associated resignation and separation agreements.
Motion made.
I'm sorry. There was a motion and a second.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item, I would request approval to administer the biannual Rido Ride Youth Risk Behavior Survey, which is a volunteer survey for middle school and high school students. The survey is contained in your packet, including the letter from Rido and the Department of Education and the Commissioner.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion and a second. Are there questions on the youth risk survey?
Yes, I have questions.
Mrs. Picard.
So, I know it says it's optional, but is it an opt-in or an opt-out?
Opt-out.
So, I actually think, so are we saying that we're relying on our families to know that it's happening and then they have to, if they don't opt out, everyone takes it, or are we asking that their child can take it?
Yeah, what we've done is we've informed the families that the survey is going to be administered, and then if they choose not to have their child participate, they inform the school that they will not participate. That's how it's been administered in the past.
So I do know you can request that we have the opt-in, and I think sometimes in this climate, it may be a better idea for parents who are feeling sort of uneasy about the survey, that we give them the option because now they have the choice. We make it more of a, we have to have this to give the survey, because as you know, especially in middle school, things get overlooked, but that's, again, my opinion. If we have the option, I think it's better for families to be able to opt in than versus an opt-out, because it makes it more transparent. But that's, again, my opinion. So.
Yeah, we certainly can follow up with RIDE to find out if there is an opt-in option or if it's an opt-out requirement, and, you know, we can pursue that with them.
Any other comments? There's already a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Seitzinger, Assistant Superintendent update.
Thank you, Superintendent Goho. Good evening, everyone. Just a few updates from our past month. We recently completed our middle of the year iReady testing and STAR testing for diagnostic testing, and it went very well. With that data, we're supporting our students in terms of their own personalized data and in terms of intervention supports, progress monitoring, and making sure that we're reducing gaps, increasing achievement. And we'll continue that. And it's been a really successful year with iReady, and it's been our first year, but we're hoping that the alignment that it has to RICAS proves to be successful for us. And then we also continue to work on our curriculum, on our ELA math and science committees. And soon we'll be doing state testing, which starts at the end of March into April and May. We had our spelling bee a couple of weeks ago. It was very successful. 16 students in grades 4 through 8 completed to be the best speller in our district. The winner of the district spelling bee is Surrey Williams from Ritchie Middle School, grade 7, and the runner-up was Maya. I hope I say the name correctly. Maya, forgive me if I don't. Kia Duansky from McGuire Elementary School, grade 4. So Surrey will now move on to the competition for the state, and that's on March 15th at Gam Theater in Warwick. All the students did an excellent job. It was a great event. Congratulations to all of them. And access testing for our MLL students was completed February 28th is the last day, but we completed it before vacation. Thanks to our MLL coordinator, Amid Jackson, and her entire team, went very well. And we're looking forward to continued success for our MLL students. You have a CTE update in your update as well from me, from our Director of Multiple Pathways, K-12, Mrs. Melissa Caffrey. And she's going to send in some more updates and possibly present, if possible, on next month. But just a great example with Delaney Souza there from our ROTC program. And then learning walks are also continuing. We're starting again in March across the district, K-12 and ELA math. And now we're going to be doing science in terms of best practices. And again, learning walks, the purpose of the learning walks is, oh, I'm sorry. I keep going in and out. Sorry, can you hear me now? Sorry, everyone. With the learning walks, we provide feedback to our principals and teams so that we can use that feedback to improve instruction and to support our teachers in professional learning. So we look forward to our science, especially at the high school, with Mr. Cicerone leading that charge. And then again, we use that data to support across our district for our curriculum. And then I just included some pictures from events this last month.
Does anyone have any questions? Thank you, Mrs. Sexton. Item number 8, school committee reports. Chair will make an appointment for a representative to the from the school committee to the district health and wellness committee. The chair is going to appoint Mrs. Christy Manjaka to the district health and wellness committee. As a parent of young children in the district, attend elementary school, I think Mrs. Manjaka will be a great asset to the committee. So my recommendation is to appoint Mrs. Manjaka. You have any comments, or you?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can't go there eating a Twinkie.
Item number 8, old business. We have no old business. Item number 10 was, item number 9 was old business. We have no old business. Item number 10, new business. Mr. Goho.
Thank you. I'm very excited about the bids that we have, hopefully for your approval this evening, to continue our reinvesting in our facilities. As you know, we've reinvested in the gymnasiums in the middle schools. They look fantastic. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from kids, staff, parents, community members, people from outside from other communities. So we're now moving that work into the high school, where the 2 gymnasiums there have not been really looked at for 35 years. We're also being very responsible with the funding. We did receive word from the Rhode Island School Building Authority that the bleachers that the school committee approved last month will be reimbursed under health and safety. So our expense for the high school bleachers in gym number 2 will be minimized. So that is great news. We also, Mr. Ficacelli and members of the central office and high school administration have been writing athletic grants, and we've received a number of athletic grants to offset the cost of many of the expenses that have already been approved and some that are on the agenda for this evening. And our plan is to use housing aid reimbursement from previous projects that will be coming in this fiscal year to pay for the upcoming renovations to the high school that I'm going to be talking about. And this way we will not be taxing the budget as well. So it's great for the kids, great for the community, but we're also doing it in a way that is the most fiscally responsible way possible. And I want to thank Ms. Casanelli. Great to have her back, and everything that she's done with Lori Lazareski to keep track of all of our bids, and Mr. Ferroli as well. We've just been really making sure that we get all of the best possible pricing and getting vendors out and making sure that we do this in a responsible way. So the first one, I would ask approval by the committee of the enclosed quote, which was the result of a public bid, to resurface the gymnasium floors. The the two gymnasium floors would be awarded to Aramsco, as indicated in your packet. So I would request
I
approval.
would say without objection from the committee,
A, B, and C.
we can combine items A, B, and C.
Yep.
Any objection to that?
No, I was going to suggest
Okay, so the chair will entertain a motion to combine items A, B, and C. A is to resurface the high school gym floors. B is painting of the walls in the high school gym. And C is to replace the wall padding on the high school gyms.
that. Motion made to pass all three.
There's a motion made and second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D.
Thank you. Another phase of our renovation and reinvestment into our facilities is to remodel the high school cafeteria. We did go out to public bid for this as well. The funding for this will be coming from the Chartwell's food service account, which is at surplus, and we are mandated by state law to spend down that surplus. So this will not affect the budget either. And so we are recommending that that bid be awarded to the Martone Service Company to renovate the high school kitchen and cafeteria.
Motion made to approve that.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions on item D? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E.
Thank you. So the next piece of information, which I request approval of, is the enclosed bid for a new student information system. And I'm going to invite Mr. David McNally, our district data director, to give a very, very brief overview of this process. As you know, a student information system is a very important part. It is the receptacle for all of the district data. We are a Skyward district, and about a year or two ago, we were informed by Skyward that the current product that we have would be become obsolete. And so we went out for public bid for a new product, and the recommendation and the decision, which was a very thorough process involving our teachers, both general education, special education, our building administrators, our central office administrators, PTOs, school improvement teams, to get parent input on feedback on Skyward and its user friendliness. So the recommendation is to go forward with a new product, but also by Skyward. So I'm going to ask Mr. McNally to give the brief overview, and then I will ask the committee for approval.
Thank you for having me. Good evening. Just a really quick overview of the selection.
Mr. McNally, just close to the microphone and as loud as you can, because the acoustics in this room, they're being revamped, but right now they're not very good.
Okay. Just a quick overview of the selection process and how we got to this point, for some insight for you guys. So last year, Skyward announced that they were going to be moving off of their current product, which is known as SMS 2.0, to a completely new platform, which is called Cumulative. It's spelled kind of weird, but it is the correct spelling. They told clients that they're going to start with their smaller customer base, which I believe is us in Pennsylvania. So that's kind of how this initiative took off. We took this opportunity to say, hey, let's look at all the different systems that might be out there, because it's been a while since, we need to assess our needs and figure out if what we have is currently working, or if there's something newer that might be of more interest to us. So we started looking at that information, because the process to either convert vendors or move to a completely different platform is exactly the same, no matter which way we go. So around May of 2024, I formed a new future committee, and I invited all staff to participate in this committee. It was open to anyone on a volunteer basis that wanted to attend. So after careful review, we had two major vendors come in. We had Skyward come in, and we also had PowerSchool come in. And what they did is they spent the week here, and we scheduled different sessions and open forums. So we had targeted sessions for the nurse, for the principals, for the admin staff, as well as open forums where anyone could come in and have question and answer sessions. So we could be as transparent as possible during this process, and anyone that wanted to voice their concerns or considerations or questions could do so in that forum. So what we then did is we proceeded to have the public biddings at the open forums, and we had 4 public bids. It went really well. We got a lot of bids. So we took that information, we sent it to the committee, we had meetings, we had reviews with the committee, and we asked all the members to weigh in. So we got as much input as we could from the members to decide on what our decision would be. And that decision then was forwarded on to all the leadership at the admin office, including Mr. Goho, with a letter of recommendation as to our decision to maintain with Skyward and continue forward with their new product. The new product that they're going to launch also includes an additional net new dashboard that they have for a lot of data analytics and insights that would make it a lot easier at central office to keep track of things. So this kind of got messed up a little bit, but moving forward, the project would just include data scrubbing, like moving through our data, making sure that it's complete, it's accurate, anything that needs to be removed is removed, anything that needs to be added would be added, convert the data to the new formats. So they're completely new databases, so we would be migrating all the data from the old platform to the new platform. We would also have to revisit all our documents that are attached, so to make sure that they get reattached to the right families, to the right students. And then we'd have to build new items and test and train the staff. So that's what would be involved in the next phase of what we need to do for the work. So the price list and the recommendation is in the attached documents, so you can see the cost, but roughly I think it's about, if we include the dashboard, it's about net new 90 cents per student additional cost than what we're already doing. So, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Go ahead.
Unless I missed it. So you said the number of members. How many of the members were classroom teachers in elementary?
I'm sorry, repeat the question?
How many of the members were classroom teachers in the elementary schools?
Of the future committee?
No, of the selection committee.
The selection, yeah, there was, it was volunteers, so it was a rotating basis. People came in and out, so we had at least 2 principals involved. We had many of the staff involved. Every meeting, because it was optional, had a different amount of attendance. So roughly about, in total, we had 20 people that rotated on that committee.
How many of them were for the elementary schools? From the teachers, not the administrators.
The teachers, I think there was only 1 or 2 that attended.
How about middle?
I don't believe there was any middle, and then there was several from the high school. Did we have one? The tech teacher at the middle school.
So is the plan to still use Power School for special education in your plans, but Skyward as your SIS?
Correct.
And I heard you say that it would be easier for central office. Well, I understand that. I'm concerned about the teacher efficiencies of how well our teachers are interacting with the dashboard.
Mhm.
And we've seen that it's usually very difficult in elementary school. So I don't think 2 teachers is good enough. And I just thought it was interesting because South Kingstown and other districts are changing from Skyward. They're doing the exact opposite than what we're doing. So I'm curious as to, it's just an interesting take when most of the individuals that are reviewing the product have said that it's not as teacher friendly.
So we all evaluated it very carefully, and one of the things we found is it has a lot of new features in it than what we have, so it's a great improvement over what we have. So there was some issues with moving forward with Power School, so we recommended not to at this time, but it's a great improvement over the product that we currently have with all new features, all new areas that we haven't been able to track before. So the committee did all agree to moving forward with Skyward.
What were some of those areas?
I'm sorry?
What you said there were specific areas that they felt were better. What were some of those areas?
There was areas for MTSS tracking. I believe there was a lot better attendance tracking. There was a lot of real-time data tracking. in live dashboards that we don't currently have today that we have to print reports to get. So those were all really big benefits of moving to this system.
Yeah, if I can also add, without getting into any specifics and disparaging any company, regarding what other districts chose to do earlier in the fall, even previous to that in terms of moving away from Skyward, since that time, one of the companies that a lot of the districts have moved towards, and we did consider, and perhaps in many ways would offer greater usability, user-friendliness, experienced a significant and major widespread data breach. So those districts that went in that direction are now dealing with the repercussions of that. And we felt that we did not want to take the chance of going down that direction in the same way that those districts did. And we consulted with Ben's office on this as well. We had him research the whole matter, and he heavily cautioned us not to go in that direction because of the severity of the data breach that that company had experienced.
I'm going to be honest with you. I often think that we don't have enough teacher input in many of the systems that we use. Then we have difficulty using them, and then it takes a very long time for us to do things. Skyward is, I've used it, and I'm not a fan. I think it's opposite of, it's great for IT staff. It's great for central office. It is not user-friendly for teachers. With the MTSS, there's a lot of other SIS that other teachers have. I think we need to do a really robust understanding of what the teachers are looking for to make sure that they are the integral part of using the system, because that's where the rubber hits the road. So while I can appreciate all of the effort, I don't think there was enough classroom teacher input for me to feel comfortable to make my decision. So I don't think I have enough information.
So part of that too is a robust training plan that would be included. So the very first part of the rollout is to include all the stakeholders in the project. And then we do have a very robust training plan in place that will include online learning. It will include training videos that Skyward does now supply that they hadn't done in the past. It also includes like a learning management tracking system, and it will include a training and development and building system as part of this process. So we'll have ample time to be able to do the adequate training.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, I will say, working with Mrs. Seitzinger, there were ample opportunities throughout the course of an entire school year for staff members to participate at all levels. Some were offered during the day, some were offered after school hours. They were voluntary. So, you know, to force people to come and look at it. Some people were not able to, so they were given information via email to provide feedback to. So, you know, we did provide the opportunities. And I think the one good thing about the ramp up is that it shouldn't be too heavy of a ramp up in the sense that it's the same company that we're using now. The product is better than what we have now. So I think there are a lot of optimistic reasons to feel better about Skyward and where we are. And as I said, you know, there probably was a system that might be more user friendly, but considering the data breach that they experienced, we just did not feel comfortable dealing with that, you know, and going forward.
And look, while I understand that, I just think with the school improvement teams, there's another avenue that I think we continue not to utilize that's been placed into legislation since 2019. And those are active members of our community and public that should have, those presentations should have gone to school improvement team meetings as well. I just think that we have to be really mindful and thoughtful about how we're accessing our school improvement teams, because they're the governing bodies of our schools, to make sure we get input from a variety, especially our classroom teachers. That's just what
No, I just want to point out, I'm in agreement with you, but I think we did a really good job in terms of when they presented, when the vendors presented, they went to every single school. They did address a lot of different people at all levels. I'm just going to speak to David and how much time and effort he put into trying to get more voices as part of this process. And I think we got some really great feedback from people. But the other piece I wanted to mention was what Superintendent Goho just mentioned, that I think the transition process and the migration process of the data piece, of transitioning that data, is going to be that shouldn't be the total reason. I'm not saying that's the only reason to do it, but it's one of the reasons too, in terms of positives. It should be a more efficient process. And I will say that Skyward, the new platform, is more user-friendly, so that is a positive. And the other piece is, if we need something that, say, another company did offer and we wanted them to offer, they are very willing to put in that work with us on those things. So there were a lot of positives staying with Skyward in the new platform version. But I think that we did offer a lot of opportunity for feedback in terms of our staff.
I'm just
And-
saying, we have to go to them. I feel like we're
Well,
always
we
asking
did.
everyone to come to us, but we have actual school improvement teams. I'm just saying, you're not utilizing them for their purpose.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that was a missed opportunity.
So
Any other questions or concerns?
we did invite,
Okay.
oh, sorry.
Excuse me?
We did invite the nurses to all come in as a group, like targeted sessions. We did invite all the principals to come in as a group. We did invite all the admin staff to come in as a group. So we did a lot of work around making sure the guidance had input too. They came in as a group. So we had kind of private targeted sessions that weren't more open to the people who really needed to be involved in it.
The teachers really need to be involved.
So
Mr. Chuck?
Thank you. The current product is being sunsetted, so the vendor is using Cumulative as the new platform, and the option was to either stay with the same vendor or to go outside and because of the data breach. I just want to make sure I understood that.
that is correct.
And when is the current product being sunsetted?
We don't have a timeline exactly. Skyward is just saying they're moving from state to state until the project is complete, but they haven't given us any definite dates.
And then as far as, I know you said that they were planning to roll it out initially to the smaller districts. Right now, are there any districts that are on the Cumulative platform that we would be able to solicit feedback from?
So to my knowledge, they started with Pennsylvania. So
Okay.
those districts have already gone through or in the middle of that process. And then they came to us and I know they had a meeting in Providence with all the districts in Rhode Island to announce it to them.
Thank you. And then you mentioned there is a dashboard. I'm curious about the configurability of the dashboard, and also, if not, like for the initial rollout, would there be any downstream option to optimize and configure that dashboard? And if so, is that included in the current contract, or will that be an additional cost?
So in the prices I gave you in the sheet, it's a little bit, I think it's 55 cents per student extra as the additional cost. It is a net new product from my understanding. It rolled out this week. But the licensing is a little different. There's an author license, the people who are going to build the data on the dashboard. So we're going to get 2 of those at the central office so that we can build it out to have what we need. And then there'll be, the proposal here is to have 15 viewer licenses, which just will allow admin and principals to be able to view the data in the dashboard.
And then, in terms of the data migration, I know that the objective is that because we're staying with the same vendor, it will be as minimal as possible. But will that data migration have to be done within the department, or is that something that will be managed by the vendor?
A little of both. They gave us a tools kit that they have that's part of the package that we run with their help that will migrate all the databases over from one platform to the other. What we would need to do is build any net new thing or mind the gaps for where the tools don't have anything. There's a couple of things that are net new, for example, building access, staff access into the system, we have to start over. And any custom forms we would need to rebuild and test. Those things will not migrate.
And then, I'm sorry, 2 more questions. They all came out of your presentation, so I apologize. You mentioned that they have a learning management system, and I just wanted to understand, is that learning management system, is the intended audience to be for the users, teachers and administrators who will be using it, or is it more for the family side of things, or is it both?
I haven't seen it yet. We don't actually get access to it until we sign a contract. But from the kits that I have read, it's for staff development, and that's the recommendation is to roll that out early so that there's time for the staff to start reviewing the material. But there is also a parent kit which has all the training for how to use the app.
Okay, awesome. And then my last question, I promise, in regards to Mrs. Picard's point about engaging stakeholders, and I realize obviously there are challenges to getting that engagement. As this moves forward, if the contract moves forward, will there be opportunities to continue to engage stakeholders on both the department side and the family side to make sure that we're gathering their input and that everybody is trained to a comfortable level?
Yes, that's the plan because we have to do a build and a testing phase. So we will need to go to department by department, have super users, have people that are in on it, working with us. So the plan is to bring all those people in to make sure that it's vetted, it's tested, it's up to date, it's working, it's meeting their needs before we go live with the system.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have another.
Mr. Picard?
So I know if we're still using PowerSchool and you're concerned about the cybersecurity breach, which could have happened anyway. I mean, it was not very difficult to handle, but we handled it. We thought that having now two systems for our educators to utilize for IEPs, academic RTIs, MTSS is now in a separate suite. Are we using CBC files or Clever files to be able to talk to each other for PowerSchool, or do we expect our teachers to utilize both systems separately?
So the special ed is going to stay special ed, and then the new system will accommodate everything else. There won't be a data integration between those 2 points.
So the academic RTI intervention plans will not be in PowerSchool?
Everything that's in PowerSchool now will stay in PowerSchool because that part of the system is completely on its own. We're already using it, but the new components will stay in Skyward.
So our teachers who are special educators who have the highest level of need, who we have the most need for our students, not one of them have made proficiency in subgroups, we're going to require those teachers to learn two platforms.
That's
Okay.
what will have to happen, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, if I can just jump in on this, Sean, I don't know if Ben filled you in on this, but we had a conference call with legal to discuss the data breach and ask Ben to research it for us. How manageable would it be? How significant was it? And we all participated in that conference call. And I don't know if Ben filled you in, but it was a pretty significant and substantial national data breach. And our legal office strongly advised us to go in the direction that we're going.
Right. So I did speak with Ben today about this matter, if you could fill me in. And yes, that's correct, Superintendent, that he reviewed the recommendation that was made in this letter that was presented to you from both David McNally and Lisa, and agreed with the recommendation that although breaches can occur, but since PowerSchool was hit by this nationwide security breach, that from a legal perspective, it made sense to move in a different direction.
Yeah, and his concern was that there were so many layers and legal questions that the company in question would need to have to satisfy in order to commit the amount of money to this project and to this company. He felt it could not get done in a way that we would feel comfortable or in a timely manner. So although some aspects of the direction that we are taking may not necessarily be ideal, this complicating factor, which could have exposed the data of all of our students and all of our family members and all of our staff members, or any aspect of the data. And again, like you said, and Mrs. Picard said, a data breach can occur with any system, with any platform. But currently, a national massive data breach occurred with one of the BIMs. So this was the best option, and legal strongly advised that we go in this direction and actually reviewed the recommendation.
Does anyone have any other comments? Okay, so the recommendation by the administration is to approve the new SIS system. Is there a motion?
Motion made to do it.
Motion made, is there a second? Mr. Corsini, second motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm abstaining. You haven't, I've abstained 3 times, but you keep not asking that question. I'm gonna abstain because I do not feel like I have the information necessary to make an informed decision.
I'll do that again. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item F.
Thank you. So, next item on the agenda, just to remind the committee, you approved the bid several months ago for our transportation contract for Durham Student Services. And Ben's legal team has reviewed the contract, which is enclosed in your packet, and I am requesting approval of the contract and that we finalize this with Durham to move forward with the approval of that bid.
Motion made to approve?
Motion made and second. Any questions on the Durham transportation contract?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, approval of bills.
Motion made to approve as presented.
Is there a second?
You got it.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, use of property.
Motion made to approve as submitted.
There's a second. Any questions on use of property? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13, we had one request. That request has been withdrawn. Item number 14, we have no pending business. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Meeting is adjourned.
Right?